Think about the last time you were under extreme financial or temporal stress. Did you act logically? Often, people facing a lack of time or money make seemingly irrational decisions, like taking out a 400% interest payday loan to cover a minor expense. The common cultural reflex is to view these decisions as a failure of willpower. Society treats poor long-term planning under pressure as a lack of personal responsibility. But behavioral economists have identified a different mechanism. They have proven that this behavior is a physical, measurable brain state triggered by the environment, known as the scarcity mindset. This chart visualizes the bandwidth tax. Chronic worry about not having enough money, food, or time consumes so much mental processing power that your executive function physically degrades. The sheer weight of that stress effectively lowers your IQ by 13 to 14 points. This severe cognitive impairment makes individuals highly vulnerable to exploitation. It creates an environment where powerful, predatory entities can actively rely on and profit from the compromised decision-making of stressed populations. Economists explain this state through the metaphor of a small suitcase. When you are poor, you have a small suitcase for your budget, and you have to pack it with intense care. Every single item requires you to take another necessary item out. This creates a psychological state called tunneling, where your mind locks on to the immediate problem. Reading the research on this, we see that persistent financial concerns impose a heavy cognitive load. Packing that small suitcase eliminates mental slack. The agonizing, constant calculations required to manage trade-offs rapidly exhaust your brain's processing power. This psychological tunneling forces the brain into a strict survival mode. You become hyper-focused on fixing the threat right in front of you, leaving absolutely no cognitive space to evaluate future risks or formulate long-term plans. Without financial or mental slack, there is zero margin for error. A wealthy person can absorb a late fee. Under scarcity, that minor mistake results in a steep decline, lacking buffer resources. Living with no margin for error traps individuals in a perpetual state of reaction. You are always putting out fires, which sets the perfect stage for external manipulation. To see exactly how that manipulation works, we have to look at the rapid chemical changes occurring inside the brain during moments of extreme scarcity. When resources are scarce, a brain region called the orbitofrontal cortex, or OFC, flares up. It calculates immediate rewards and screens for short-term relief. Simultaneously, activity in the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, the DLPFC, plummets. This manager for long-term planning shuts down. This physical transformation is a state-dependent lockout. Under scarcity, the human brain chemically prioritizes the present, reducing the capacity for long-term calculation. This neurological shift creates the ultimate target. Systemic predators recognize this state and build entire industries around selling fast, highly destructive relief to chemically desperate people. Industries like high-interest payday lending focus on this precise cognitive gap. They offer instant, expensive relief to a mind currently unable to access its goal-directed decision centers. Sociologists and psychologists have identified a direct link between this neurological state and the rise of authoritarians. Scarcity, whether real or manufactured through a constant barrage of fear, greatly heightens the public's vulnerability to simple, reactive solutions. Demagogues use rhetoric to trigger the exact same tunneling effect. They focus attention on immediate threats, they point at simple scapegoats, and they exhaust mental bandwidth, blocking the processing of complex policy. Authoritarian leaders succeed by actively keeping the general population entirely trapped in a perpetual state of cognitive scarcity. If the public is busy fighting for basic survival or constantly agitated by manufactured threats, they lack the mental resources to organize or resist. Systemic greed and political control thrive on poverty. They are active, calculated efforts designed specifically to farm the severe cognitive deficits created by the bandwidth tax. The biology of scarcity works in reverse, too. When resources are plentiful, or when a genuine mindset of abundance is achieved, the brain's chemistry stabilizes. In a state of abundance, the DLPFC lights back up. Executive function is restored, pulling the mind out of the tunnel and allowing individuals to look back toward the horizon. Reaching this state requires redesigning the systems around us. Instead of blaming individuals for failing under pressure, we have to fix the cockpit, not the pilot. That means engineering environments that demand less daily mental bandwidth from the people navigating them. One method is automating positive decisions. By committing to future savings programs during moments of relative stability, people can bypass decision fatigue, the deteriorating quality of choices made after a long session of stressful calculations. Designing forgiving systems that protect our mental bandwidth is the first critical step in reclaiming personal agency from manipulative forces. Building resilience requires community cultural wealth, a framework of social, navigational, and linguistic resources. This diagram outlines assets that sustain groups through pressure. By pooling resources through social and navigational capital, communities simulate abundance. You can draw on the collective support of your neighbors. This leads to an approach called emergent strategy, a framework where communities adapt together through small, continuous interactions rather than waiting for top-down control. They share the cognitive load to prevent any one individual from falling into the tunneling trap. This collective resilience forms a cognitive shield. It short-circuits the isolation and the fear tactics authoritarians rely on, replacing reactive fast thinking with coordinated long-term action. By fiercely protecting our mental slack and cultivating community wealth, we neutralize the architectures of control and regain the power to build our own future.